Alright, hey everyone! I'm alone this time, back for another episode of Day Art Shtajio's vlog. This is episode 41? 41. We record a couple of these, 2 or 3 of these at a time, occasionally. And from the last one, Arthel's still late. Still late. 2 weeks now we've been waiting. He's still not here. But so, I'm going to run this one solo. Bear with me, guys. But I'm going to talk about some just animation opinions, right? So this is another one that kind of falls into just my category, maybe best anyway. So the topic this time we were thinking is rotoscoping. And what is my opinion on rotoscoping? So, for those who don't know, rotoscoping is the act of basically tracing over live action footage, right? So let's say there's a movie, a guy walks across the screen. If you actually just trace over every frame of that person walking, but you know, make sure that your character is drawn in that position, then that's considered rotoscoping. So the animator didn't really do the animation, did they? So rotoscoping is kind of controversial among animation fans because is it okay to use? Is it not okay to use? The animator didn't make the animation, the movement themselves, right? They made the characters themselves and all the artwork themselves, but not the actual motion. So there are people that probably absolutely hate it. Like, oh, this is just a rotoscope. This is nonsense. Who is it? The Rankin Bass. What's his name? Why am I blanking now?
You mean like the animator or the director?
Yeah.
No, like Ralph Bakshi.
Ralph Bakshi. He's the one I was thinking of. Ralph Bakshi. Yes, thank you. Ralph Bakshi did it back in the day for like The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. Or not The Hobbit. That was Topcraft. But the Lord of the Rings animated film and some other stuff he made back in the day. I think that, you know, back then it was still novel enough to that it was still, you know, it was something maybe it was okay to experiment with. Nowadays, though, if you just outright traced live action footage, is that being a good animator? I don't know. I don't want to, I'm kind of torn on this one because I do know animators that rotoscope, and sometimes the job calls for it, particularly in advertisement, right? Sometimes there's advertisements where the point is rotoscope over live action footage and it makes for good, you know, good commercial, right? When it comes to like an anime or an animated film, then it's a bit harder. Also, what is rotoscoping is I feel like a little up for debate, because some people say like some of the old Disney stuff was rotoscoped significantly. They did to an extent, but I feel like, I don't know, I kind of feel like they changed the drawings enough so that I wouldn't call it just an outright tracing. I guess it would depend on the sequence as well, though. So for me personally, I would prefer animators not rotoscope if possible. I would prefer the art of animation being not only the skill, like the illustrative skill of actually drawing characters again and again, but also the act of making motion, right? I think that there can be animation that's very good, but with characters that are not very interesting, and vice versa. There could be animation that is absolutely terrible and it's not moving a lot, but the illustration aspect of the animation is so good that it still actually carries and is still entertaining. So the whole creating motion from nothingness is part of the excitement of animation for me. So to just give up that aspect of the art form and be like, well, I'm just going to trace over this live action footage and just make sure that it's a good drawing every time. Personally, I don't like that so much. I feel like then, well, just make a live action movie. At the same time, reference is okay, right? Like if you want to watch a live action, recently I had to animate a horse running for the first time. I've never animated a horse running before in my life. And I didn't know how the legs moved. Like I remembered reading in animation books, you know, and I pulled out the Animator Survival Kit again and, you know, looked at all the suggestions, but at the end of the day, I've never done this, and so I need to see a horse moving. So I would watch the live action of the horse moving and kind of be like, oh, okay, that's how that leg is offset from that leg. Okay, let's move this leg and let's match the live action in the sense that when that foot lands, that's about when that other foot lifts up, right? At that point in the cycle. But I didn't trace anything. I was just looking at it as like, oh, that's when different things happen in that motion. So, I mean, that safely is not rotoscoping. I would feel, even if it helped me get done with the scene faster and possibly even better, I would personally feel uncomfortable actually tracing over the stuff. But again, if an animator makes it work, they make it work. There is some old Disney films where I think Snow White. There are some examples of like a woman like putting down a basket or something like that, and then they match. And then if you look at the animation next to that footage that Disney Studios made at the time, it is the exact same. Like they were like, okay, 3 frames later, she bends down a little bit more, and her head is right here, and then like they would match it up pretty much exactly. And who am I to say Snow White doesn't have, amazing animation? But it's interesting. For those not in the know, rotoscoping is a kind of hotly contested topic in the animation industry. And for those in the know, yeah, what do you guys think of rotoscoping? I mean, I guess this is probably a short episode. Because that's about my rant on my feelings about rotoscoping. I personally try to avoid it, but I can't hate on everyone that utilizes it. And there's different ways to utilize it that make you more or less guilty of, sacrificing your own creativity. Steven,
Yeah.
got a comment or two about rotoscoping and what I've said?
Yeah. I mean, actually, a project I'm working on, it's freelance. Actually, the client sent me her performance, like her dancing and stuff like that, and I used it purely as reference. Like I actually broke it down because you have to like know how many frames of animation is going to be for this project, right? So if it's 3 frames per second or stuff like that, you then have to take that rotoscope, you have to process it so it matches the frame count, and then from there the clients also provide a character design that doesn't match up at all to the actual performer. The hips are smaller, the arms are longer, it's a different hairstyle. So my comment on rotoscoping is you're using it purely as a tool to deliver a final product. If I just traced over every frame of that actual character that's not even in the thing, then yeah, that's useless. It's not, you're not actually animating. But if you're using it as a tool, as a reference point to deliver that product and what the client wants, then yeah, I think it's perfectly within the purview of another tool in your tool belt to use to animate and to create things. You still need to know how to draw, and you still need to match the design that the client provided for you. That requires skill and technique and education and all that stuff. So yeah, that's my skill on it. Rotoscope, as long as you're using it as a tool and nothing else. just an infinite head nod.
Yep, I agree. So yeah, write your comments about rotoscoping below. What do you guys think about that? And I'll see you next time. Will Arthel arrive next week? If we wait one more week, will Arthel arrive? Tune in to next week's episode to find out. Shtajio. See you guys next time.